Just had a little bit of a fiasco here. Uh-oh. Oh no. Well, all right, we're back in order. Sorry about that. What a morning. Wow. This is then, I'll spare you the drama cycle. Jeez. You know what? I may have to buy a new metronome, finally. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. I've got to tell you, one of my friends sent me a video to look at yesterday. There we go. And Kevin, I've got to share it with you. Good morning, Jill. You'll appreciate this. You guys will like this. I'm going to share this with you now while I just kind of get going, because I couldn't believe it. I shared a video with Kurt yesterday, and he sent me back this thing, and I thought, I've got to share this. This is just way too cool. It's like a master class. Oh, hold on. It's a master class in like male vocal tone. It's also a sort of like a, oh, wait a minute. Bear with me. You're gonna love it. It's just, whoops. If I can get beyond myself this morning, bear with me just for one moment, and I appreciate it. Here we are, running a couple of minutes, running pretty ragged. I had a pretty good. All right, here's Kurt Mangan. You can check that out. I just gotta grab my guitar. Don't go away. We've got a lot of work to do today, actually. Bookmark that link. Bookmark that link. Do yourself a favor. It's like a master class. It's like watching Errol Morris's like Miller Lite series, like all of those commercials that he directed and filmed for. He did a bunch of work for Apple, and it's just master class. When you watch his stuff, it's like master class in film work. But you check this out. Like, I thought, I've seen Kurt playing guitar before, but I've never seen him present it like this. It's just a beautiful thing. Mr. Mangan, I don't know if he keeps any tour dates or theatrical appearances or what he does, but after watching this video down here, I'm convinced that me and my wife are going to do whatever we can to make it to a performance, just beautiful work. You're going to love it too. Specifically, Kevin, I think you're going to really enjoy it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. I have all of these books that have survived so many things, and now they have to endure what they just endured. I'll spare you, like I said, I'll spare you the detail. But good morning. Here we are, tuning up and getting ready for the show. Here's the A440. Yeah, and this is what we call in tune. Here's your A. Good morning. Good morning, Kevin and Mr. G. Good morning, Jill. Good morning. And the immortal strongest. Can you play One Last Breath? That's great. That's a great question. Let me just get up to tune here, and then we'll get started. What you've stumbled your way, what you've worked your way into, what you've scrolled your way into. The immortal strongest. Yeah, are you really? Kurt's he's Mr. Mangan's a super human as well. You know what I mean? You think about the things that people do that are good, and doesn't that sound? It's so clean though. His vocal presentation's so clean and just so perfect. Actually, you know what? I'm tuning his strings on this guitar right now. He like hand winds these in Cortez, Colorado. You know, when you tune these strings, when you have Kurt Mangan strings on your guitar and you look at the light, right? The lights shine a little bit brighter, you know? It's weird how that works. Let me know if you have experienced the same phenomena. Robbie, what's going on this morning? He does sing with ease, and I've got to figure out what that painting is behind him, you know. I saw a bunch of color late last night when I listened to it, and I thought, I've got to identify what that painting is. Person holding, is it? That's something. Good. Let's go ahead and start. I haven't done the full Monty here for a little bit of time. I think what I'm going to do is do that today. So if you'd like to join me, let's go ahead and start with 60 beats per minute. I'm running wicked late here, so you're probably already moved along, but we have 60 beats per minute on the metronome. We are tuned to A at 440 cycles per second, which is the global standard for tuning, and it's called concert pitch. We are tuned to concert pitch, so we could be on any bandstand in the world and be considered in tune, which is good news. So we're going to start right here. 4 attacks per beat, 1 E and a 2 E and a 4 E and a. Hey Steve, this is my morning ritual for guitar growth, which encompasses a ritualistic warm-up series. This is quite literally, the time that I personally take for learning how to just be with the guitar in the morning. And I know, I'm a slow learner when it comes to that. It takes a lot of repetition and a lot of time for me to just be with the guitar. But now I'm here, I'm arrived, I'm running a little late, but I'm no longer late, I'm right on time. And here we go. So we are just humming right along, and fingers 3 and 4 on 2 frets apart. Don't pull the strings off of your guitar, folks. Yeah, and then we have fingers 2 and 3, and we're doing the same 1 E and a 2 E and a. You know what to do. Yeah, I have, I don't know if you're still here, Steve, but I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on my channel. So if it is a song you're looking for this morning, unfortunately, I'm going to commit to getting through my warm-up this morning. So just a full disclosure that if you have other streams that you can, if you want to move along, this is what's going to happen today. And I'd love to, introduce and accommodate new songs, but alas, I'm finding myself committed to my morning ritual for guitar growth this morning. And my hope for you is that you join us with a guitar in hand and play along with us. Yeah. All right. So if you choose to do that, let me know if you're sticking around. You can jump on in the live chat and join the party. So we have moved to fingers 1 and 2. All right, let's see. Komal South. Can you please until I found you? Oh, that's great. I appreciate your request. Thank you so much for your request. And what I'm doing this morning, just so you know, is focusing. Just got to focus directly on the morning ritual for guitar growth. It's my warm-up period, and so I'll move through this cycle, this sequence where I'm working on, understanding what the guitar has to offer through a calculated and well-trodden path. You know how when you walk the path, sometimes you walk the path or you've made the morning drive enough where you kind of like just arrive to the office and you're like, wow, how did I get here? Hopefully it's not just me. Get doing that. If that's an extremely, unusual thing, then it doesn't happen to me. But sometimes we go on autopilot and we just get to, we get through the place we think. So what I'm saying is if we go through the process of driving to the same location day after day, we don't really have to think about it in the same way that we thought about it the first time we made the drive. So that's pretty much why I do a ritualistic approach to my own morning warm-up every day, every weekday morning. Yeah, this is episode 245. We have 15 days left to get to episode 260. I see that. Who sent the gift? That is cool. Thank you so much. Who is that? Let's go ahead and use fingers 1 and 3 on frets 9 and 12. So 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a 1 E. Very nice and straight, nice and even. Let's go ahead and change the change the lap. Here's what I'm trying to say, and then just working the things that sometimes feel like we don't need to be working. You know what I mean? Hey, baby pup, what's going on? Thank you very kindly. Are you a guitar player? Laughing disco. I appreciate that. Thank you. Credence. Oh yeah. Now you're talking. Miles Kennedy songs. I see that too. Good morning, Argentina. Buenos dias. So here we go. Fingers 1 and 4 on frets 7 and 12. Join me. Yeah, this is a morning ritual for guitar growth. And, this is what we do here. We play the guitar. We tocar la guitarra. And toca la guitarra. Or toco la guitarra. No, but I play the cello and clarinet. Great instruments. Great instruments. How important would you rate warm-up in your life? Warming up before you play. How important would you rate that? Would you rate that as a high-level importance? Toca la guitarra un tema de los Rolling Stones. Okay. Yeah, all right. Kevin rates warming up as very high level of importance. Amen, brother. Amen. So let's go ahead and keep this show rolling. So we'll start with fingers 2 and 3 and 4, and then we have baby pup. Pretty high. Yeah, pretty high. You know, it's even more important to have the visor adjusted correctly on the hat. So, you know, don't forget that part. Vanity is what it's all about. So fingers 1, E, and 2, and 1, 2, 3, fingers 2, 3, and 4, 2, E, and a T, E, and a go, E, and a Just something really simple, you know. Do you have any morning intentions this morning? Are you playing the guitar for a specific reason? Are you playing for a higher power? Are you playing for God? What are you playing? Do you have an intention that you set? I set an intention most mornings quietly, but this morning, you know, I set an intention to be a better guitar practitioner than I was yesterday. And that's, you know, and sometimes the goal systems don't have to be very complicated. And the goal doesn't have to change every day. It doesn't have to change, you know. The goal could be to develop the sharpest and longest lasting, finest edge that man can make, that humankind can produce. And that could be multiple lifetimes of effort and study and research and development and practice. So the goal post doesn't have to move. As a matter of fact, I prefer if it does not move. So just something really simple, you know. Just meeting the simple things. And now I'm working on my breath patterns, just kind of getting my back upright, just writing my situation. And then fingers 1 and 2 and 3 on 9, 10, 11, and 1 and 2. You know what to do. Hey, Epic Edits, you're back. What's going on this morning? How are you? I have been playing and singing to the Lord this morning. Hey, Matiko Dillard. Good morning. Hey, have you ever heard? You've heard the band The Dillards? Have you heard any of those tunes? The Dillards. I'm assuming that you're probably one of the members, right? You are related to them, of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? Like, we're all related, right? If we go back far enough, go back to the beginning, in the beginning. What a beautiful thing to have you here, you know, just I forget really what I'm supposed to use is I'm supposed to use every note for praise, right? And sometimes I got to admit, I forget it. Got to admit it. And but fortunately for me, I remember it. I come back to it time and again, like a little pendulum swings, and eventually, in the end, it will all be, the pendulum will remain balanced and in the middle. So I'm just going up and down here, the guitar neck, and what you're seeing is, you know, fairly sloppy technique this morning. Fairly mindless technique, and what I'd like to focus more, I'd like to place a little more focus on breathing through these tones. And and then have these tones be a musical expression, even though it's not necessarily a musical. It's not written to be music. This is written to be an exercise, more specifically a warm-up exercise. But warming up, if I warm up, so I've heard people say, I've heard my friends and colleagues say, practice makes perfect. Yes, but what if you practice like, really like junk? What if you practice like junk? I think that's the way we end up playing, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to absorb new quality, techniques, and awarenesses into my own playing. And that it's just that simple. And in the event that that happens, my playing and performance should look effortless, something like what Mr. Mangan does, did earlier on here today. So I'm using fingers 1 and 3 and 4, and we'll keep going here. Good morning. I think I missed some of this stuff. Happy picking, Mark. Robbie's in the house. Mr. Smith's in the house. We've got Mr. Mark in the house. Yes, hour and hour, then some. More hours of practice, exclamation point. Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you. Thanks for being here, Matco. Yeah, and so we have a relative right here of the Dillards, the famous, the monumental ensemble, monumental historic ensemble, and a lot of it's like the band's band, the Dillards. So we've got a relative of the Dillards here in the live chat this morning, which is pretty cool. Yeah. All right, done with the 1, 2, 3. Let's get back to the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and what? We're placing the clicks on beats 2 and 4 on 2, and 1, 2, and 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2. That's kind of just laying out the feel with 2 bars of 4 up front. And depending on how well rehearsed the band is, you might be able to just go like this. Just kind of give what we call a cue. And you could cue the beginning, or you could cue the tempo just with a simple move of the headstock. It's something that you practice. See what I mean? You can kind of like get some body language involved, and it can be very subtle too. It can be really subtle, because if you're playing in your ensemble for long enough, you know a lot about how each other, you know a lot about the daily operations of your bass player. You know a lot about the daily operations of your conch shell player. For example, if you're playing in Mr. Bruce Coburn's band, you know what I mean, or ensemble, someone's inevitably going to make a solo on a conch shell, and cue the entrance for the conch solo. You know what I mean? Just wild stuff. But today we're talking blues, right? We're talking some blues. We're in Blues Week, and it's we're approaching Christmas, and we do have the O Holy Night transcription coming. I just have a couple of more projects to to get out the door before we can sort of get that to you guys. But that's coming, so I wanted to let you know that we haven't forgotten. That will be out in time for Christmas, you know what I mean, so we can learn it together. Should be this week, next day or two. I appreciate your patience, and keep an eye out for it because it's a really cool little arrangement that we worked on together last week. Hey, baby pup's still here. Good morning. Awesome. That's awesome news. That's great news. Two Rabs, good morning. Sometimes I just kind of go and change the tempo a little bit, or not the tempo, but I change the number of attacks per beat just to mix it up a little bit, and just to be sure I can. Anybody know what that was? All right, so we're going to go and enter into the kickstand exercise. So the same thing, fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're using the fingers one instead of stretching the fourth finger. We're stretching the first finger. We're kicking it back. You know, one. Wouldn't you know? 1 E and a 2. You know what to do. Yeah. 2 T and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 T and a 4 1 2 T 4. You know, let's go ahead and play it like we're counting it. Experience that sort of lives and breathes within us, you know. Yeah. And don't forget, I'm talking about myself now. Don't forget to be thankful, Jason. Express gratitude and joyfulness whenever you can, because it's worth it. It does become a challenge sometimes to do that, but it's easy to remember to breathe through the nose and out through the mouth. So we made it. We made it. We're okay. All right, let's try something a little different. Let's try playing that backwards. Ready? I mean, that was funny, right? That was That was funny. You could press a little laugh face, you know. You got to admit, that was funny. All right, so are we still doing this? How many of you are still here and still alive? All right, I see Baba Ganoush is here. Oh, Baby Pup is here still. Good morning. Jill Bourgeois, just still here. That's great. Just went through the kickstand exercise. How are things going over there in your neck of the woods? What's in your coffee today? That's a good question. So last night it was our man-child's birthday, and we took the family over to the Ireland a little while ago, and our man-child had it was full of all of us, everybody, and sampled the cuisine and the beverages across the land and the culture. And he had this Irish cream cheesecake, which is made with Baileys, you know, and so my beautiful and loving wife whipped up one of those delightful experiences last night. And no, I do not have Baileys in my coffee. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I've done cleansed my body of that sin. Lord knows I love it, but I remember the first time I sipped on that was I was heading over to Great Britain to be sort of a musical exchange student, and it was on ice, and it was just a really pleasant experience, and I've really enjoyed it since then. But as of last Easter, no longer. But I did have a beautiful piece of that cake, that cream cheesecake, and it was just delightful with a little Irish crumble cookie, you know, crust, and it was just amazing, And but this is just a regular old brew this morning. No fancy ginger and red bush leaves. The red bush leaves are really something to ginger and chamomile, or it's just a regular old cup of joe this morning. Just a regular cup of joe. So we stretched, and we're going to, I think I'd like to do, anybody have any ideas about what would they like to do for the last 5 minutes before we jump on into the, sort of like a slow roll through the minor blues format? I think we moved a little quickly through that yesterday, and I wanted to spend more time sort of digesting the watershed moments of the blues in general, so that way we can, you know, really commit these things to memory. But if I do those same stretches, hey, guitarisms, good morning. Well, yeah, I understand. You're more than welcome to join us here, and I appreciate that. You're cool to comment away, friend. I mean, it's hard to tell, you know, if you're on the internet. I don't want to use the word friend like we all do, like that social ease, you know. I use the word friend. The word friend means something to me, right? The same way, like, you know, Christmas light bulbs from the 1970s and 80s mean something different to me than the modern, you know, I don't want to produce anything combustible LED lights, you know. So, you know, I want to be sure to use the right words in the right places in the right application. You know what I mean? I do those same stretches. How long do you hold the stretch? You know, that's a great question. Let me go back to that for just a moment. You know, what I do for the morning ritual, this is the morning ritual. I do this every weekday morning. And this is, I'm glad you asked, because I feel like I'm still not stretched enough for this morning. Oh, look at this. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm looking at all these gems up here, or rupees, or whatever that's like a new thing. That's pretty cool. I guess I'm like 125 rupees rich now. Woohoo! I'm gonna go buy a stick of T-berry gum. You probably are too young to know what T-berry is, but I'm thinking, here's what I do on my morning ritual for guitar growth. I do this one, I breathe in through my nose. It's difficult for me because I dropped a Marshall stack on my face early on in my life, and it's deviated my septum, so it's hard to breathe for me, but I do it anyway. And I usually hold it for, if you're a guitar practitioner, guitarisms, you know that we need to use the metronome, right? Or I need to use the metronome. And you're going to do what you want to do, and more power to you. And but I use the metronome and I count it like this. I count 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a bow, and then measure 2 E and a T E and a bow, and T E and a 2. If I want to practice counting fives, I'll count da 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 ba ga da ga da ga da. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1, or 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1. But it's always 4 bars. 1 2 3 4 2 3 4 and 3 3 4 and 4 2. I've got 1 2 3 4 measured, 2 2 3 measure, 3, and then measure 4. So this way, every 15 minutes, I know I can practice stretching for 1 minute. You know, it's roughly 16 beats, right? So roughly just over 1 minute. So I count at the beginning of each type of stretch. I'm going to count 1 2 3. Internally 2. Measure 3. And measure 4. And that's what I do. I focus entirely on breath, and maybe I'll get like a shoulder roll, which encourages me to sit back up correctly. What I do a lot when I really play the guitar is I like to slouch. And I had a friend in the university who was he used to play like this. We've all been caught playing like this, right? What we do is I'm just doing this because I model this, but if you place your face on the surface of the guitar, or your ear canal, you know, get your ear like right up in here, like right in this area. If you haven't done that yet, if you're practicing a guitar practitioner, if you haven't done that yet, you owe it to yourself to do that. Just, it's a life-changing experience. Not great for the posture, but life-changing nonetheless. And I know it's life-changing for me, and that's all I can speak to, is what I know about things. Okay, let's right. I see some deleted messages, and I don't know what I missed, but I missed a lot here. Jeez. Bear with me for just one moment. Yeah, good man, Robbie. I'm just seeing that comment. The old purge. Time to make the donuts. Metronome is useless. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. It's, you know, there you go. Now that's out in the open. You feel better? Let's see. Check. It's like saying to a chef, the thermometer is useless. Yeah, you don't use it. Well, you can kind of like get it staked to temperature by touch, I guess, if you do enough of them, right? But you have to do a lot of them first. Yeah, I got it. I like that. Hello from England and fellow wood jockey. The Feral Gamer. Hey, good morning from England. Which part of England are you from? And I also tickle the ivories. The ivory tickler. Very cool. I was at university in Leeds, so I don't know if you're, you know, that's a great little spot. But I did travel a lot through there, so it's always great to have friends that stop in and say hello. Gotta use the word friend again loosely. Slucci is real. All right, gotta run. Pulled in the office. Hey, tell everybody we said hi. Starring David Tennant. Huh. Down in Dorset, mate. Oh, mate. Like, yeah, we used to watch footy and drink snake bites. You know what I mean? Where the TV series Broadchurch was filmed. Yeah, right on. I'm surprised you pull into this Yanks channel. You know, I'm a friggin' wanker, man. You know what we did is we used to eat chip buoys. Do you know what a chip buoy is? Chip buoy. I don't even know if it's like nationally known. But here, let's go ahead and start talking about minor blues. I was a really poor music student then. Now I'm a poor music teacher, and no, I'm not poor. I'm not poor. It's I'm very, very blessed, I got to admit. But I do remember the chip buoy, and then the bacon sandwiches were just different over there, man. They just hit so hard. So we've got minor, B minor. We're going to start with one. We're talking our way through the minor blues. This is the same set of chord changes that B.B. King might have used. B minor, but he probably used, you know, the regular old B minor, you know. So I'm going to use one measure, two, measure 4 moves up to measure 5, moving up to the 4 minor, which is E minor. That in measure 7 and 8, we're back to the 1 chord. In measure 9, the watershed marker, flat 6 major 7 to the 5 minor 7, back to being sorry one day. Still working the 1 chord, minor pentatonic. Back to the thriller, no, repeating the initial idea. And you can hear that we went back to the 1 chord for measure 7 and 8. Now I'm going to measure 9 to the flat 6 major 7, down to the 5 minor chord. And I'm definitely not going to be sorry for doing that. Let me just walk you through it one more time. 1, and then measure 2, and measure 3, and then measure 4, and then measure measure 5. And back to measure 7, and then measure 8. Measure 9 is a huge moment for any blues fellow. And then back to 11, measure to 11, back to the 1 chord, and then measure 12. And then you could do the 5 chord to kick it back. So we could start on measure 1. So we have all of the chords done. Hey, baby pup, still here. Thank you for the reminder. Very cool. I use that low, fat B minor. You know, that's a great thing to do because you get all of that. You place that F sharp in the bass too, and it really it does fatten that up, doesn't it? Just super huge. Super, you know, just a great. You know, no, I guess one other thing that we could talk about is the chop, right? One thing that's like really popular is to leave, especially with the layers and levels of sophistication that the late great Mr. B.B. King reached. He left plenty of space for the imagination to work. Now I know that's not consistent with current modern practices because we fill every single void with you know, quantum noise. You know, we're down to those levels, and that's like day-to-day communications now. So I think it's important to talk about, if we're going to play a blues song or any piece of music, this just happens to be a perfect model that we can explore and do this level of research and development. We can do this. So you hear how you can kind of like chop the chord, and you put a little bit of like spring reverb on that, and it clanks around a little bit, jingles and jangles. But now if you don't do that correctly, it can be like, you know, I didn't really hear the chord stab on the top of the chord, you know. So I want to be sure that I'm definitely getting the bass note, and then I'm getting like the angle of the pick is changing. So instead of coming down like this, resting on the next smaller string to stop my strum, I'm only wanting to execute the bottom note, the bass note, and or 1 or 2 other strings at the most. So, and then what I don't want to keep going straight through, because I really am only interested in the top 2 or 3 strings. So I'm going to angle my pick so that it kind of wedges like almost a 45, and then I'm going to push down and then kind of like flick my wrist forward. But you can see that I'm going like this and like this at the same time, right? So this, there's a twist here, and then there's a forward push, and that little twist and forward push gives us that access to the definition of the top end of the chord. And you'll hear me like slap on the top of the guitar. So I also have to remember, on acoustic guitar, maybe pull the pick in a little bit, right? That's what I'm looking for. And that's a very challenging thing for me to do, is offer very high levels of definition, harmonic or chordal definition, and not feel like I need to keep speaking because I'm going to lose a listener. You know, if I'm losing a listener because the listener can't be attentive enough to be in the audience in the first place, it's likely that person is going to be talking to their traveling companion for the whole concert, and it's probably not a great fit to be there in the first place anyway. Maybe you should be at a you know, Taylor Swift concert or something where you can. But I think these kinds of techniques and building these kinds of techniques offer and invite listeners in to and definitely their imaginations in, and their wonder, you know, creates a little bit of a gap. So we're going to try just stabbing or chopping our way through, right? 1, 2. That was a really sloppy one. And then what I've got to do is, so that it doesn't stick around, I've got to lift the fret hand. The fret hand needs to break connection with the strings, right? I'm not breaking the connection with the string. I'm actually just, we're squeezing, there's tension, and then there's release. But I'm staying on all of the strings, just enough to choke the strings that are unwanted. I need to work on tightening that up for this particular voicing. 3, 4, and then we're here for 2 beats, or 2 bars. Yeah, and it can get like, maybe I need to figure out which voicing I'm going to use, right? And then sometimes we can leave it a little longer, you know? We can do all kinds of other things. But I think the chop is a really important place to be, right? And listen to all of the area that opens up all this negative space that we can have somewhere to go rhythmically that you can use to expand the listener's experience. So this little truncated, you know, that rhythm pattern, that chop creates rhythmic tension, and you're wondering where the next notes, you know, it just creates a little bit more drama and a little bit more room to wonder about things. So yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being here with us. And Kevin, perfect timing, brother. Perfect timing. Thank you. I hope you all had a good time today. And I only play metal and occasionally normal songs you typically learn for everyone else's satisfaction. Yeah, that's right. I'm with you, man. I do try to improv over blues backings with the heaviest of distortion is what I meant. That's really cool. That's really cool. What are you using for distortion? I'd kind of be interested in learning a little bit more about what it is you're up to over there. So come back and join us again tomorrow if you have some time. It's every weekday morning for me at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. So every weekday morning, so that's, 5 days a week. This is episode 245 of season 1. I'm getting ready to do Cheers, mate. Yeah. I use the 6-tone core Uber metal pedal. Have you tried? I'll have to check it out. I just received a Tonex. I've got a head rush here, and I've got the old Ibanez TS10 tube screamer. I used to have the Boss's heavy metal distortion, but I somehow lost it. I don't know where in the heck that went. But most of my distortion rigs are now like in the Tonex and Amplitube and like the head rush rigs, you know what I mean? Yeah, top of the line back in the day. If Kevin's still here, thank you very much, Kevin, for being here. Oh, your dad's a player. Yeah, right on. Good for you, man. Good for you. Well, we'll see you again tomorrow. And until we meet again, I really wish you happy picking. Thank you.